This is WFO Radio.
Hey guys, Joe Costello, WFO Radio here, and it is time. I am super proud to introduce the WFO debut of Life's a Drag. Jason Logan, Elon Werner, sometimes Jason Galvin. They're going to be talking drag racing. I don't know what they're going to be talking about, but I'm sure eager to find out. Here we go. Life's a Drag.
This is WFO Radio.
Good evening, everybody. What's going on? It's Life's a Drag. Look who it is. It's your boy, Jason and Elon Werner.
Hello, America and the world. What is going on?
Woo! We're back, baby.
We're back, baby.
Back.
Well,
Life's a Drag.
You're back. I'm just getting started.
You're just getting started. But hey, we're all here. We're all ready to rock and roll. We're back. If you saw us yesterday on on WFO Joe's show, we laid it out. See, we had life happen at the end of the year, man. Galvin had a kid. He got a real job. He's got a big boy job where he's got to answer 5 million emails a day. And he answers to the man. I'll say that. He answers to the man.
Yeah. And
we do not.
And he's the perfect person for that job because he is a racer, understands the racing, understands the marketing, big brain, good personality. Yes, I tolerate cats, Derek, right out of the gate. I tolerate cats. I mean, it's like living with a supermodel. You support them, they ignore you, whatever.
That's right. So if you're not watching and you're going to be listening, Derek Green just asked because Elon's wearing a cat shirt right now.
The already Drag Racing Bracket Bonanza social media taking shots at me for not wearing a Bracket Bonanza hat.
You know what? I thought about wearing one, but I was like, no, maybe later.
Jason and I both had a conversation before the show started about what we were going to wear. It was like two guys going out to South Beach. What are you wearing, man?
Yeah, this is what I decided to wear. Liverpool.
You went Liverpool. I went
jersey.
Full tiger shirt to just mix it up a little bit.
We know who's going to get the ladies is on South Beach. It's going to be you.
For sure, Jason will. For sure,
you're sensitive. So welcome to Life's a Drag. Again, we're going to start back. I mean, listen, we've been in talks with Joe since the beginning of the season, and we've been trying to figure out what we're going to do. Joe was like, "Hey, man, I would like to, bring you guys on and let's do this." And he met our quote. Let's be honest, he met our quote finally. I mean, this show had dozens and dozens of listeners before,
right?
And
tens of people.
Yeah, and that comes with a price. Am I right, Elon?
Yes, for sure. For sure. There's, we have lifestyles we're trying to maintain.
Right.
And it's you got your entertainment business, you got your DJing business, you got your entertainment announcer business.
Yeah.
That's overhead. I've got Werner Communications, Werner G&E. We're making TV shows with Buddy Hull. We're making Drag Racing Bracket Bonanza. We got different projects going on. I mean, again, those things have to be funded somehow, and this is how we're going to do it. So tell your friends.
Yeah, tell your friends. Share the show on social media. Share it, like it, do whatever you need to do on YouTube. Hopefully we'll be bringing you again, like Jason Galvin and I were doing. And don't worry, Jason Galvin will be on here from time to time. But we're at 6:30 East Coast time. Elon's I'm on in Orlando, Florida. Elon's in Texas.
Yeah,
so he's Central Time. Galvin will be soon on East Coast time because he's supposedly moving to Indianapolis.
Nice.
So that might work out better for him later on once he makes the move. But right now he's on West Coast time. So he's in the thick of it.
He is. And we're in the thick of it. I mean, we got all kinds of things going on. And that's the beauty. My vision for Life's a Drag.
Lay it on us.
Is some drag racing. That's our bread and butter.
Sure.
But I love movies. I love sports. I love pop culture. I like just random stuff, baking, holidays. I got friends all over. And you're also in this other kind of crazy universe where we do all this random stuff. And you and I don't really, I mean, we know each other, but we know each other kind of just enough to bump into each other.
Yeah, we hang out at the track and during rain delays. Like we've talked in the past. Like Charlotte's a great place for a rain delay because
Right.
it's a big media center, and you're always in there. And we have fun. Like in Chicago, we were just hanging out, having a good time during a sandstorm.
Yeah, and just king of hypotheticals. Just hey, what about this? What about this?
Right.
And then, hey, while we're stuck in this rain delay, why don't we tarp the racetrack? And then we go down a rabbit hole. Like it's not quite like Silicon Valley when they're trying to satisfy 800 guys in an auditorium.
Right.
We don't go that deep into it, but we get pretty deep.
Yeah. So and you and I are in the same age bracket, and like Joe and I get caught doing old references all day long. Yeah. And Galvin threw one out the other day on Sunday in Chicago. He did a Top Gun reference, was, by the way, that's one of his favorite references. After somebody passed somebody, he's like, where'd he go? And he goes, where'd who go? And I was like, that's Top Gun, baby. So yeah, be prepared for excellent old guy references. Maybe some get off my lawn type, commentary.
And we're not going to dumb the show down. If you don't know our reference, hit the Google.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you know this stuff. Like I have 4 boys, and I'm a DJ. Well, when we were growing up, I basically, we were listening to music on the radio and all that stuff. But I started them out like with James Brown, Earth, Wind, and Fire. I got them doing all the Motown stuff, moving on up, and then they finally got to listen to maybe some Justin Bieber or Ariana Grande or Chappell Roan. No, we're listening to the old stuff. I mean, my twins get the lead out all the time. They're huge Led Zeppelin fans.
I get my son Abby was my daughter Abby, more of a Taylor Swift. We have some great she's seen Taylor Swift like every iteration of Taylor Swift.
Wow.
Going back when she was in 6th grade. And again, she finally had to pay for her first Taylor Swift tickets for the Era Tour. And that was adulting sucks.
Yeah, it totally sucks.
But my son, I'm an old school country guy. Johnny Cash, Hank Williams Sr., Patsy Cline,
right?
Merle Haggard. So his playlist is super eclectic. But he's a Spotify guy. I'm old man Pandora, but his Spotify playlist, because he now has his AI DJ, which I just was introduced to.
Oh wow!
This past weekend, and that again, bonkers.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing what this AI thing can do. Like I updated our Life's a Drag post. I mean, look, this was on ChatGPT. We made it. I mean, Joe's art guy made a little bit of extra stuff to it, added some color stuff. But the Christmas tree, the tire, and then the font and everything. I was like, what? ChatGPT can do that? Okay, cool. Let's go.
I just saw a deal where some lady took a picture of herself on an airplane, was like, hey, ChatGPT, make me professional photographs. And then it showed the photos they made. I'm completely doing that. Yeah. They were like right out of Suits.
It's insane.
But they were her.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Technology scares old guys like us, but we're going to learn it and we're going to figure it out.
We're going to fight through it. I'm a big game guy. And I was also introduced, I do all the New York Times games, like Connections and Sport Connections and Strands. But I just go to my browser and type in Strands. I type in Connections. And my daughter's like, you could just go to the menu and just stay on the site and get all the games. And I was just like, someone had just shown me fire. What?
I was telling somebody the other day, I just learned something from Hannah, from the Hannah Cabana.
Yeah.
Like this past year, she showed me how to do something in the DJ program that we use. I've been DJing for over 30 years. I'm like, okay, I'm trying to show her how to do stuff. And she's trying to learn, how to do this stuff and do it well, because she doesn't want to look, like she doesn't know what she's doing. So she actually gets in the program and actually figures some stuff out. And she goes, yeah, if you leave it here on the, hit the BPM button and you have the BPMs going, all your mixes, they sound really good. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, Hannah. That's exactly what they do. Acting like I knew what was going on. I'm like, thank you, Hannah. 3 races later, I'm like,
thank you, Hannah, for showing me how to do this.
Yeah, you should have how to do my job after 30 years of doing it.
So DJing, real quick, before we get into our first kind of structured little segment we're going to try to kick off here. you've done every iteration of DJing. You started with records, I'm assuming.
I did, yes.
And I was at the Johnny Cash Museum in Nashville, and they had this really cool fact about Johnny Cash, that he's one of like only a few recording artists that has recorded on every recorded medium, like going back from reel to reel to 8-track to cassette to LP to CD to MP3. And there's 2 or 3 things, but like he's like the first artist to ever touch all those bases with original music.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like I got started in radio back in 1992. That's how I kind of got my deal going.
Right.
And we used to, edit tape on reel to reels. And
Yeah,
you
on
have to
the
slice
cart.
it. Yeah, you'd slice it, and then you put tape on it, and then you put it in the cart. Yeah, the 8-tracks basically.
Yeah.
When I walked to the radio station, I go, "Oh, you were using 8-tracks?" And they're like, "Well, it's a 1-track, honestly." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." But I didn't know what I was talking about.
We just had racks. I did motorsports sport talk show, and we had the rack of all the spots. And then when they finally got all computerized and have drops and all that stuff,
yeah,
it's Candyland.
Oh, the best is I'll never forget running in to tell the on-air host, because I was Jason the phone guy. I was the one screening calls, and I came running in. I go, "Don't answer that call!" And I knocked every cart. It must have been 50 carts off. Oh my god, I got in so much trouble. But yeah, this is how we learn stuff. So, anyways, all right, let's talk about what we're going to talk. Let's dive into this. This is a segment we might bring up. Yeah, we're trying to be a little more structured.
So we're going to call this segment "What Just Happened."
Okay,
and this is kind of our little review section of what just happened. And we can go back and forth. And for me, what just happened was a friend of mine caught on fire at the Indy 500. Mike Miller, crew guy for Rossi, husband of Pat Caparelli, PR person, just won the Jim Chapman Award for Motorsports PR Excellence. I'm watching the Indy 500, and I see this fire, and I see a guy that looks kind of familiar, and I'm like, huh. And the next thing you know, they're saying, "Oh, we have to check on Mike Miller, over the wall guy for Rossi." Thankfully, he was okay, but it's bizarro land to see a guy that on fire on TV, still trying to put the car out, of course, because he's a stud.
Right. Well, like I was, so I didn't watch the entire Indy 500. I watched no racing on Saturday. And we'll get into why I didn't do that later. But I went back and I started watching highlights. I was like, let's see all the top moments, and I saw that car catch on fire in the pits, and they ripped the tire off. And I watch them trying to, they're putting they're trying to hit that fire. Yeah. And I guess because we've been around racing enough, I start watching everything else. And I saw that I saw another guy hosing Mike down
other side of the wall.
On the other side of the wall with the fire extinguisher. I go, "Oh, that guy's on fire, man." Yeah. I go, "I'm glad somebody's over there with a fire extinguisher."
And luckily he's fine. He's giving thumbs up. But there's a great picture that he shared on social media. He's like totally covered in like the fire foam, and he's just sitting on the back of a golf cart, and he's just like, "Just another day at the office."
Yeah.
And we do see crazy stuff like that. We see guys, get bumped by tires or doors hit them or, whatever. And thankfully everyone's been okay. But that was a crazy, crazy scene of, kind of what just happened.
Well, and yesterday with Tony Stewart, he was talking about on WFO, was talking about how the camaraderie between the drivers and everything like that. And, you forget that, okay, yeah, that's one discipline of racing over there, IndyCar. Then there's F1, there's NASCAR. But we all know people that work in all those industries. And and you keep an eye out because they're your friends and you know them. And, sometimes you're acquaintances with them, or sometimes you hate them and you're like, I don't want to be part of that guy's life. But when something weird like that happens, you're just like, oh man, you gotta pay attention. So,
and it's the good thing, like knowing those people, is you kind of, like you say, you look behind what's actually happening. Like when the race won, I'm starting to look like in the background for some of the social media people that I know, some of the people from like Chevy PR that I know, or Pat works for Firestone PR, and you're just kind of looking for them in the background because they're just trying to get shit done. And guys are drinking milk and putting the wrong hat on and taking hats off, and Chip Ganassi's running around, and just that whole, you've been in situations like that that you're just like, you're in the Indy 500 winner circle, and you're just like, man, I just want to get this hat deal over.
Right.
I just want to make sure we got to do all these hat photos. Let's just get these done. Same deal, U.S. Nationals. Let's just get through all the hats.
I love watching Courtney Enders work her elite people.
Yes.
She does not mess around.
No.
And that's like the one time that Courtney Enders gains respect from those guys, because they want to be done too. But they're all jerking around, grab assing and stuff. And then there comes Courtney. Hey, all right, this hat, let's go. Elite hat, let's go. Boom. All right. Take the picture.
The other master of that is Kelly Antonelli, formerly of John Force Racing, now at Tony Stewart Racing. She's probably the first person that created the hat system, where, like, when we were at JFR, there was basically an Oakley bag that Eric Frampton would put together, and Kelly would just check and had all the hats in order.
Yeah.
And
it's a special skill. You just got to, it's like herding cats in there.
It is. And
everybody's excited.
All those guys want to do is they want to get to the beer drinking and celebrating, which I understand. After 3 or 4 days of busting your ass, it's well worth what you want to do.
Well, and going back to the Indy 500, there were a lot of weird wrecks, like in and out of the pits, like people losing their brakes going into the pits. I'm like, what is going on at Indy?
And it kept talking about how cold it was, and it looked overcast, and I just don't know. Guy crashed before the race started.
Yeah,
on his tires. Guy locks his brakes up coming into pit road. The rookie crashes into his own pit guys, which how he didn't hurt somebody.
Right.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, that race had everything.
It did. Yeah. I mean, I wish I'd watched. I mean, it's been on repeat, and I'm like, I can't sit through 3 hours of that, but I watched the highlights. But yeah, something else we want to talk about is Kyle Larson.
Yeah.
Going
for the double, which, again, touching that Tony Stewart base. And I want to ask Tony, I don't know if he actually completed the double. I mean, has someone done all 1,100 miles? I know
Tony,
one's won both. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one, because I know Kyle wrecked.
Yeah, he wrecked both races.
Right.
I mean, so, and just all the effort that went into that, I got to give him props for even trying. And the thing is, with that late start, I read somewhere that even if he wouldn't have crashed, he would have had to basically get out of the car before the end of the race to get to the NASCAR race.
Right. And I think, you have to think sometimes, it's like, did they do that on purpose? Or, I know they probably didn't, but, that's the conspiracy person in me. Like, he's got to get to his real paying job.
Right. But I think it's cool guys that try to do that. And I would love to see I don't know if he could ever, string it together where, a guy like Tony or Cruz or Caps could ever do like a drag racing national event and then go to like a sprint car race.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Day. That kind of thing.
Maybe you could do that. I don't know if they run Eldora during the U.S. Nationals.
I feel like we were somewhere where maybe it was Indy and there was a race like the Wednesday or Thursday before Indy, but just some kind of double up would be kind of cool.
Yeah, the logistics. Well, I mean, I guess the logistics is really, hey, get your butt, get out of the car, get in a helicopter, get to the airport, get back in another helicopter. Yeah, I guess that's really the logistics. But like the stamina of it. I mean, like my wife, she's just like, they're just going in circles. I mean, they're not athletes. And I'm like, I go, okay, I just let her talk because it's fun to hear her talk. And my kid, he's 14. He's like, Mom, they're athletes, it's hot in that car. You don't understand. And he doesn't know anything about cars either. But I'm just like, it's fun to hear people just say dumb stuff like that. You don't know.
No, I mean, and I think the mental strain is the other thing of just like going, you're trying to keep the car under control and going through traffic and just avoiding wrecks, and just the skill set of a guy like Kyle Larson that can do dirt, can do IndyCar, can do NASCAR is so impressive. And to try to attempt to do that, I think is really pretty cool and should be applauded even just for the effort.
Right. And only a couple of special people are going to try and do it. Yeah. Psychopaths like Tony and Kyle Larson. That's all they care about is racing.
That's all they do is, here's an opportunity to race. See, Sean Langdon is another perfect example. What's he doing on his off weekends? Sportsman racing.
Yeah.
He's got super comp dragsters all over the country, and he just goes and races. And, it's crazy to see guys like him, Josh Hart racing Top Fuel and FlexJet at the same race. So there's Scott Malpass. Thank you very much, Scott. Bringing the
completed it.
knowledge.
Thank you,
Quick,
Tony.
We're assuming Scott knows what he's talking about. So
Andretti, Tony, Kyle Busch, and Larson, and Tony is the only one who completed it. Perfect. Thank you, Scott.
thank you, Scott.
That's what we need on this show. People helping us out because we're
people helping us out. We one thing. Let's throw this out there. We are going to start. We're contemplating throwing out putting the link in the chat so we can pull guests from our watchers, from our viewers.
If you want to be part of the show,
if you want to be part of the show, have a hot take, and we'll just pull you up, just like good old fashioned sports talk radio.
Yeah, you'll be a guest.
You can be our fan guest. So
yeah,
keep your eye on that added element to the show. But the other thing about this weekend, Mission Impossible came out.
Have you watched all of them? Are you a big Mission Impossible fan?
I actually have watched all of them, and I've already seen Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning or Final Reckoning twice. I saw it on Thursday when it came out, and then I went again and saw it on Sunday morning at 9:30 in the morning.
Wow.
What is too early for you to go see a movie in the theater?
It definitely has to be in the afternoon time. I can't if it says AM, I can't go.
Yeah, it was a 9 o'clock. It was a 9 o'clock start for Sunday morning because I wanted to be back in time for the Indy 500.
Okay, all right.
But it was Thursday. I went at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, which is my prime afternoon watching time. And I was I knew there'd be people there because you can kind of see who bought tickets.
Right.
And it was actually on Thursday. It was probably 2/3 full. But I love going to a movie on Thursday afternoon where it's like me and two other people.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I'll Mission Impossible's like I watched the first couple, and that's a plane movie to me now. Yeah. Like John Wick, I'm like all over John Wick on planes. Yeah. But my favorite thing is watching Tom Cruise do press right now.
Yes,
because he is. I mean, that guy's kind of reclusive, but not really, because people are just going to ask him about his religion all day long, and he gets annoyed. Right. But when he has to do this stuff, it's like I was like, oh, there's Tom Cruise. Yeah, all right, there you go.
And the behind the scenes stuff, like for the first Dead Reckoning, when he did the motorcycle jump, and they did like the behind the scenes of how they did the motorcycle jump.
Right.
That was pretty amazing. For this one, he had some stuff with the biplanes, and he's jumping from one plane to another plane, and all the stuff that he's actually doing himself.
That blows my mind that he does.
Is crazy. And there's the director's talking about how there's one scene where you can tell he's in the airplane, flying the airplane, and he's the actor, he's the director, and he's the crew guy, because the cameras are on him and he's having to position the airplane so the sun is hitting him the correct way, so it's lit correctly, and he's doing all these things that have been like completely choreographed.
Right.
By himself. He has like 9 things, and he's trying to act and, talk. But in true Mission Impossible fashion, just like Fast and the Furious, just like all these movies that were so good early, and then they just had to come up with new stuff to top themselves.
Yeah.
The underwater scene where he's in the Arctic on a submarine.
Wait a second. Are you going to give us spoilers now? No spoilers.
Yeah, but it's also from the previews. You see in the preview,
okay,
he's like in a swimsuit in the Arctic underwater for more than 30 seconds. And it's
and because we all know, because we watch Deadliest Catch, you can't do that.
You can't do that.
No.
It's just impossible. I mean, I don't care if you have the decompression chamber handy and you have a team of medical doctors, and if you're exposed to the water in the Arctic Circle for 30 seconds or more,
you're a nice
tough break, fella. You're dead. I don't care who you are. I don't care what kind of Jason Bourne, Mission Impossible, James Bond special training you've had.
Right.
It's just biology. Your body will just die.
See, talk about Jason Bourne. I don't know which one was the first one. I don't know which one was the middle one. I don't know what they all run together for me with Jason Bourne. I'm like, I like watching all those action movies. I love it, but I'm like, Jason Bourne bothers me because I don't know which one I'm watching.
Yeah. I read all the books. Robert Ludlum's books were spectacular. The books are way better than the movies. That's cliche. But yeah, the Matt Damon character, tremendous. He's so good. And
I love the memes of people doing out of shape people doing karate and stuff like that. And they go back to the guy, My God, that's Jason
Yeah,
Bourne.
Jason Bourne.
Those
Yeah,
are awesome.
The scene for that same movie where the guy's like, if you were in your office, we'd be having this conversation face to face. It's just so great.
It's so awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
So
some really
Mission
good stuff.
Impossible, I love the holiday spectacular movie. Like when Independence Day came out on the holidays, Terminator was a big holiday movie.
Yep.
But yeah, so Mission Impossible, I would highly suggest going to see it. They do put a bow on everything. There's some good throwbacks to the whole series in it without any spoiler alerts. You can leave as soon as the movie's over. There's nothing after the credits like an Avenger movie.
Okay.
But it was quite entertaining.
The one movie I wish I'd gone to see with my 14-year-old was the Fortnite movie. And because I was watching TikToks and I loved watching all these 12 and 15-year-old kids just destroy theaters. And when they said chicken jockey and they would throw popcorn, I mean, it was the craziest thing for like a month. And my kid, every time I was like, I would laugh. I go, these kids are losing their minds. Like they just saw the Beatles for the first time.
It's their Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah. Yes.
It's their homage to that. And I will say this is now we're again totally leaning into the life's a drag metaphor. There is something about movie theaters that it drives me insane. And if you go to the movies lately, you've seen it. It's the Coca-Cola, it's the Cinemark commercial or the Coca about mobile ordering for your drinks. It's the one where everybody's in the theater and they're all like reacting like they just saw this most amazing thing, and a guy comes in late and like he missed the big surprise, whatever. Well, the whole problem with that is most likely that's towards the end of the movie. Everyone in the theater, all their shit is full. Their popcorn's full, their drinks are full, they're all full. And then the guy comes in and he's drinking his Coke and it's already empty because you hear it slurping. So like, dude, you got your concessions and you already drank your drink before you got in the theater. And then he comes in and misses the spoiler like he's just coming into the theater. So what movie has a spoiler in the first 10 seconds?
Right.
And then he's just like, what? They're promoting mobile ordering when they're telling everybody also stay off your phones in the theater.
Yeah.
So many problems with that commercial.
I don't get that. Do you like going to the theaters where you can order like a full meal?
Like a movie studio grill or Flick House or something. I kind of do. It has to be the right kind of movie.
Yeah.
And Flick House Brew, we have one in Mansfield where I live. It's actually pretty good. But I kind of tolerate it. Okay. I prefer to just get like a small popcorn and a big drink.
Yeah.
And then just lock in but I am a big theater guy. Even during COVID, there were theaters around town that you could basically like rent the theater for up to 30 people. And we rented it one night with all our neighbors.
Right.
And went and saw Raiders of the Lost Ark on the big screen again. That? And it was spectacular because we're all like totally spread out in the theater, and it was perfect. So I'm a big
that's good.
Theater.
I'm with you there. Theaters are definitely the way to go to see things, and you remember the movies that you see in the theater. But there are some times where I'm like, I'm more than happy to sit in my house and watch a movie. My TV's kind of big and my chair reclines and I don't have to pay for all the concessions over there. So
yeah,
there's do
you remember the first movie you ever saw, Jason? Like what is there a movie that made you fall in love with going to the movies?
Well, I will. So I grew up in Florida in the 70s and 80s. And, we had drive-ins. I'll never forget the first time I saw a drive-in movie. My mom made popcorn, like Jiffy Pop popcorn, put it like in a paper bag from the grocery store. And it was like oil and stuff all over the bottom. It was the grossest thing ever. But we're in the back of our green station wagon. And I watched Smokey and the Bandit.
So great. Yeah.
So good. That was good.
We had drive-in theaters in Texarkana where I grew up. But I remember, 8-year-old Elon. We went out to dinner with my mom and dad, and my dad's like, we're going to go see a movie after this. I heard about it. He was a professor. He goes, I heard about this science fiction movie. We're going to go see it. And it was Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
And that's like the first movie I saw in a theater. And as soon as that Imperial starship comes across the top of the screen,
right,
I was like, full on DNA inputting. This is how you get entertainment. Like that
I
forever.
DJ'd a wedding at Disney last week, and the bride wanted to walk in. Which wanted everybody to have lightsabers, and she wanted to play the opening music. And that music is just so iconic. And I had it at a 12, and it was. It was so like that. I mean, the whole place was hype after that. Like, yes, let's go.
And John Williams did all that music. I mean, one guy did like every iconic song you can think of from a movie.
Oh yeah, I'll never forget. I know exactly where I was sitting at the Altamont Springs Theater to watch Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah,
I know exactly the row. I know that was so great. I'll never forget. My mom would she'd be bored and she'd be like, "We're going to go see a movie." It was me, my brother, and my sister. She took us to see Kramer versus Kramer, and I'm like, I was like, "What?" And she was like, she didn't realize, no one told her what was going on. But that's where I saw my first naked lady on TV on screen. I was like, "Ooh, there's a naked lady." Ooh,
whoa, hello.
But But my mom would take us to see movies and stuff like that. But yeah, the drive-in theater watching Smokey and the Bandit was epic.
Yeah.
So
and
good.
So bringing it back full circle to where we started, Indy 500, one thing I didn't touch on with that was the inclusion of Tony Stewart in the Indy 500 broadcast.
Nice. Okay.
Which I thought was really cool because they did talk, because he's just won Chicago, and, he talked briefly about that, but Tony Stewart to me is like our generation's Mario Andretti.
Oh yeah.
The guy that can do everything. Now, he will not put himself in that category, but I think skill set, now that he's won consistently, truly worked his way up, I think he's got to be considered for a championship contention. And if he gets on a roll, but you can tell he's a different guy than the guy I grew up half-ass watching in NASCAR when he was just kind of a dick to everybody.
Right. 1000%. And I wonder if just getting married and having a kid does that to you.
I think so. I just think just getting older and kind of looking back at, and he talked about a little bit about how much fun he's having drag racing, and how I think he realized he missed some of those opportunities on the NASCAR side because he was so focused on just racing.
Yeah.
I just want to win. I want to win championships. I want to win. I'm going to be angry at everybody. And now he's kind of like, well, I kind of missed some stuff. I maybe didn't enjoy it as much.
Well, and I like what you're saying about Mario Andretti, because when that was the biggest driver when I was growing up. Yeah. And I play with little matchback cars. Ooh, Mario Andretti. When I got my first car, Mario Andretti, doing that kind of stuff. I actually got to have dinner with Mario Andretti at Disney when they had their speedway out there.
Right.
And they brought him out to do ride-alongs with people. And before he went out and did ride-alongs, he sat down with his wife. And I'm just sitting there like, hey, that's Mario Andretti. It was the coolest thing ever.
And how approachable is he? Like, you're like, oh, I'm not going to go talk to that guy tomorrow. But then once you kind of get up the gumption, nicest guy ever. I had a 5-minute conversation with him, and he was like the most pleasant person ever.
He sat down with me because I was the only. He didn't go sit someplace else. He sat down with me, and Joe and Tony were talking about that stuff on their show yesterday, and I'll never forget Tony's first year. He comes out and. He's riding through the pits in Brainerd. I'm walking up to the pits, and here he comes on his scooter, and he stops and talks to me.
Yeah.
Not like, hey, what are we doing? What's going on? Anything exciting? He goes, hey, man, I like what you do. I'm like, stop it. Just stop it.
Yeah.
You're Tony Stewart. Relax, man.
Yeah. You're looking around for the camera guy that you're obviously being punked right now.
Right. And he goes, dude, I own a racetrack. I understand the need for entertainment. I go, thank you.
Yeah.
So that, and ever since then, we talk about stuff. So
yeah, it's very funny. Like, he talked to me in the Chicago press room. Like, he was waiting for, I think, whoever won Funny Car, Beckman. He was waiting for Beckman to finish talking, and so he's back there, and he just kind of stopped and was just chatting me up, and it was really kind of cool. Just yucking it up and seeing what's going on, and we're talking about racing and how cool it was to win, and. And you're just kind of like, okay, well, now I'm going to go kind of get back to work, and you're going to go do your media deal. And he was he's just, I think he's just totally mellowed and just really enjoying it. And I think being married, having a kid, all those things give you a totally new perspective.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and we've both been around major sports celebrities.
Yeah.
Our entire careers. And I'll never forget, like, we would when Shaquille O'Neal got drafted to Orlando, he was just a big kid. I mean, the guy was 20 years old. He had more money to know what to do with, but he just liked to have fun. And we would be like in our little dressing room doing what we were getting ready to do. And he would just open the door. He's like, "Oh, you ready?" And he just close the door.
When he opened the door, he completely filled the doorway up with person.
Yep. I've only seen one other person bigger than Shaquille in my life, and that was a Las Vegas bouncer, and he almost ate one of my friends. But Shaquille O'Neal,
Shaquille O'Neal, I was working for the Mavericks that his rookie season when he came through with the Magic, and he had bits. His hands were so big, he could put them like this and completely hide a regulation-sized basketball. And he had another deal where he would palm a basketball, and he would offer you, if you could knock it out of his one hand, he would give you $100.
Yeah.
And he would let guys take a running start. There was a guy there that was like a karate guy, tried to kick it out of his hand. No one was able to knock the ball out of his hand. These are grown men. And he was just spectacular. And he's breaking backboards and
unbelievable. But that's there, and that goes to with everybody. We see people that like worship John Force and these guys. And that's the cool thing about NHRA drag racing. Yeah. You can walk up to a rope line at their pit and they're going to say hi to you.
Yeah.
We went to Bradenton for the test. I took my kid. I was like, "Hey, you want to come see what your old man does for a living? Let's go hang out." We walked right up to Tony's pit. He was right there. I go, "How's it going?" "Oh man, we're terrible, blah, blah, blah." I go, "Hey," I said, "Cooper, this is probably the greatest race car driver you're ever going to meet right here. This guy." He goes, "Stop it, please." He goes, "I'm not that cool." And, but my kid's like, "Who's that?" "I don't know who that is." And then we go down to Antron's pit. I go, "He's world champion." "Oh, really? World champion? Okay. Well, that guy right back there is a Hall of Famer." Right. He's like, "Oh, okay." And he started picking up 2 and 2 and he goes, and as we're leaving the track, he was like, "So this is what you do? You stand down there with all that? You get to talk to all those people?" And I go, yeah. And they actually know who I am. They're just the nicest people. Yeah. And they're just people like everybody. I mean, I always, give people a hard time when they're going through the autograph lines. Like, "Hey, don't make eye contact with them. Don't even talk to them because, they're celebrities." But they're so far from that. It's not so
cool. And again, that is, I've met guys that are total jerks.
Yeah.
That really do feel like they're bigger than their britches. But most people are regular people. They got the same issues, and you can go up and talk to them about shared experiences. And I took my wife one time to meet Nicholas Sparks, the author.
Okay.
He wrote The Notebook, and he wrote, all these kind of, I thought he was like the John Grisham of romance novels, very formulaic and all that stuff. So he was doing a speak engagement for an Alzheimer's event. And so he did a speech but before he was doing a meet and greet and signing books, and we get in the line, and my wife's read all his books. Not familiar with his work. And I was like, if you got any questions for Nicholas Sparks, now's the time to ask. And she's like, "Oh, I don't think so. He's not going to want to talk to us." And I go, "He's being paid to do this. I've done a million of these things with Force or with Josh Hart or Justin Ashley. They will yuck it up with you because you're obviously a fan." And she's like, "Oh, I could never talk to him. I could never talk to him." So we get up there, and I was like, "Oh, Mr. Sparks, very nice to meet you. My wife is a big fan. I'll be honest, I have not read any of your books." I go, "But it's probably pretty good because all my favorite authors are dying." Because Tom Clancy had just died, and Vince Flynn, who did the Mitch Rapp books, had just died. And he was like, "Oh man," he goes, "That's a bummer." I go, "But luckily, I read Gone Girl. My other latest deal is Gone Girl." Man, he goes, "That book's so good." And we just kind of had a nice little chit chat, and then pictures with my wife. We go and sit back down. He does his whole talk, completely impresses me because all his books are based on real life experiences. Like The Notebook is basically his grandparents' life story.
Right.
And so then he's like coming through the crowd because he didn't get to sign everybody's books, and he gets to our table, and we're like a random one-off table, and he comes up and goes, "Oh, hey, Gone Girl guy." And then he starts talking to me again at our table. And then he goes on, and like everyone at our table is like, how the F do you know Nicholas Sparks?
Right.
What's going on here? It's like, I was just chatting him up in the autograph line, and he's a regular guy. So evening wraps up. We're walking out. It's at the Westin in Dallas, and he's still wrapping up with some photo stuff. By now it's like 10:30. He's got like 10 people left in line. And I tell my wife, I was like, hey, if you want to kind of start a friendship with Nicholas Sparks, now's the opportunity. And she's like, what do you mean? I go, he's going to finish that autograph line. His adrenaline is going to be jacked. The Westin has a really good bar and restaurant that's still open. We can hang around here and say, hey, Mr. Sparks, can we buy you a glass of wine or a cheeseburger? And I go, I bet you 9 times out of 10, he'll be like, sure, I'll do that. I got nothing else to do. So, and she's just like, no, I don't want to do that. So she kind of starts walking to the escalator to go like down to the valet where our car is. And I'm still standing there because, Jason, I'm contemplating, maybe I want to become friends with Nicholas Sparks.
Of course.
And she's like, get over here. You're getting out of here. So that's how close I came to being close personal friends with Nicholas Sparks.
You're really good with that because you know how to talk to people and you treat them with respect. And that's all you have to do. Treat them with respect, show a little interest in what they're doing. And they're like you said, they're just normal people, and they're hungry. They want to have a bite. And if you're going to buy them food and you don't act like a whack job,
but I can't tell you how many strangers I've eaten with Force, with Justin Ashley, who at an event, hey, we're going to, they see you at a bar. Hey, can we buy you beer, Coke, whatever? And then they're very pleasant. Right. And then you make that engaged deal. And then, with Force, he was like, oh, you've been great. You're going to come to the races next year? I was thinking about it. Well, Elon, give me your card. Get these guys tickets for next year's race.
Yeah.
And then I become their ticket connect.
And as long as you don't hit hot button stuff.
Right.
Like Tom Cruise, I saw him doing the press stuff. He went up to the popcorn people at the concession stand and was talking to them and apparently talked to them for 15 minutes and he's got to go. And his PR people are like, yo, we got to go. Stop talking to these people. He's like, no. These people are, he hangs out and talks to the people that make all his stuff. And yes, Jim, you can buy me a beer anytime, Bishop.
Yes. And suggestions for racing content, drag racing content. Here's my suggestions. If you can go to a race, I think there should be more shows about pets at races. There should be, dogs at the racetrack. I think there should be content of the people that are designing cars. I want to hear the history of the car designs. And I would love to see a show where you only talk to the runner-ups. That's all you talk to.
That would be good.
It's just runner-ups.
Maybe that'll be our bit on WFO Radio. We talk to the runner-ups.
Just talk to the runner-ups.
That could be funny. What happened to you out there? Come on, man.
And just like real pointed, like, hey man, I know Dallas, Glenn, you've had some rough goes with Greg Anderson, but hey man, what the F?
Yeah,
what
what's
happened?
Your problem?
What's your problem? Yeah.
Yeah.
And just open it, and everyone just kind of knows. It's like between two ferns. You just know you're going to get off the top rope.
Elon, at some point in time, I'm going to show you some between the two ferns stuff that I did back when Jim Trace was around. We were in Charlotte, and he goes, we needed to come up with some bumper stuff for the awards banquet. I said, why don't we do between the two ferns? This is before Ron Capps, before he won any world championship.
Right.
And I said to Ron Capps, I go, why haven't you won a world championship yet? I go, is it because you're the worst driver ever? And he was just like, what the heck is kind of going on here? And Antron was going to win. Antron was going to win that year. And I said to him, I go, hey man, I said, Antron, you're going to get up there and talk way too much. I wrote a speech for you here. If you don't mind, read it. And I just wrote on it, thank you. And I go, that's all you need to read. And then he goes, no, man, I got to come in a little more flavor. And then I start beatboxing, and he starts thanking people. I've got this video someplace.
Yeah, we need to see that.
We never showed it at the banquet.
I have two suggestions for banquet content. One of them I want to make is called Nitro Confessions, where you have a portalet in the staging lanes, and guys walk into it and make their confessions, and their faces are pixeled out, but they're obviously still wearing like their uniform shirt
Yes.
or their fire suit. But like, hey, don't worry, we'll pixel you out so you won't know. And they're like making all these confessions about stuff.
Right. Yeah.
And you do it with Force, and Force is just moving his head around so much, but the pixels are stationary in the middle, and you just see his face like bouncing out of either side. So there's that one that I want to do.
That's
called Micro
awesome.
Confessions. And then I told him this is when I'm still, and there should be one where it's just Amanda Busick screaming at the top end. Like 90 seconds. Like if you watch Kurt Spittler does the amazing top end stuff.
Right.
But 1 out of every 3, there's great. Amanda's under so much pressure up there to just keep the trains running on time. But the Amanda screaming of 10 seconds to air, where's Jack Beckman, get on the stage, just 90 seconds of that I think would be really funny at the banquet. As a buffer, like after Loans does or you do your intro, they should be, okay, now we need to direct your attention to our first award of the night. And then it's just 90 seconds of Amanda just screaming at the top end.
Oh, that would be, see, that's the fun stuff. And like, if you could see that stuff, that's what this show's really about.
Yeah.
The behind the scenes stuff. Because if you could see Amanda doing her stuff or in the TV truck getting ready and just, she's not Amanda Busick, Fox News reporter.
No.
She's Amanda Busick from North Carolina. And we're just talking about stuff that you're like, what? What did you just
rating the candy in the candy jar?
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
but yeah,
so,
that's always that's a good one. I told Kurt Spittler, and I hope Allie doesn't hear about this, but you know how Allie Bland, our social media person or whatever, the market media person, she's on TikTok and she's trying energy drinks.
Yes,
which has been kind of comical. She's got a pretty good perspective on it. And I've actually got to be on one, but I told Kurt, I need you to pull every video of her facial expressions after she takes it, like
just little.
Yeah, I need
and
that.
The lip smack.
Yeah,
just that.
It's so funny. This is the stuff that we have to deal with, which might be able to kind of move us into this little next topic. People on social media yelling at everybody and stuff like that, because Tony Stewart, he let it fly in the media room. Let it fly.
As we kind of wind our maiden voyage together, let's talk about what we need to keep our eye on.
Yeah, definitely.
Epping this weekend.
It's gonna rain on Saturday. I hate to be that guy.
It looks like it was going to rain on Friday and Saturday. Now it looks like it's just going to rain on Saturday and maybe a little bit on Sunday. So,
well, I think Sunday's going to be
in.
Yeah, I think Friday we should be fine, but Sunday is going to be like into the Sunday morning, like 6 a.m. So I think Sunday we should be good.
Yeah, and really, if it rains all day Saturday, you know what that means? More opportunity for us to eat lobster at Brown's.
Yeah, right there. Listen, back in the day, I wanted it to rain and we'd have a rain out, but I understand the repercussions of having a rain out. So I want to get the racing in as soon as possible, and so we can get out.
Let's get out. Let's get a racing in, get everyone happy, and then go eat lobsters.
Yeah, but listen. Yeah, remember back in the day when we first went there, they would give the media room lobsters.
Yes, yeah. Not just that. One day was lobster rolls. We had lobster rolls like on Friday, and then Saturday they brought in lobster.
Yeah, I remember Hannah and I like raccoons, because we had to go out there. I go, Hannah, let's eat this lobster, and she goes, I don't know how to open it, and I'm like, cracking it like a caveman. I'm like, Hannah, eat this here. Let's go. Yeah, no, that's the good point too. Is they don't do that anymore. But
that Brown's place, I think it's in Portsmouth. It's that whole region of the country is so bizarre for a guy from Texas, where like you can drive 10 minutes and be in another state. Yes. I can drive 10 minutes and not even be to Fort Worth yet.
Right.
But you go into this place and it's cash only. They have an ATM machine there and they have the lobster tank, and they're like, yeah, most of these lobsters were in the ocean this morning. Like we just brought them in.
That's cool.
And now we're gonna drop them in a pot of boiling water and you can eat them.
Yeah, we went. There was some clam shack when you go over the bridge into Maine. I forget what it is. It was something on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. But that place is pretty good. You sit on picnic tables outside. Yeah, there's a lot of good places to eat.
Yeah, because the Browns place has the big kind of pavilion with lots of picnic tables, and then right beside it, there's a convenience store that sells all the beer and all the soft drinks and wine, and you can just bring it right in.
That's awesome. But Portsmouth's one of those places, like, I would actually take my wife for the weekend and like fly into Boston and take her, because there's unbelievable restaurants. The town is just, you walk around, it's a New England town, and I like that place a lot.
And Epping is going to have bits. They're going to have the #1 claw fire.
I love this part.
They're going to, at the top end, they're going to give the #1 qualifiers a live lobster that they're going to have to hold while they're sitting on this throne, which Tony Stewart was talking about. Oh, I'm not that worried about it because it's got the rubber bands. Nope. You guys go 330 miles per hour.
Yeah.
You don't need rubber bands on your lobsters. Let's get those.
Get the pinchers out.
Make the handoff that much more exciting.
Right. And you know what? Let's be honest. Lobsters aren't that aggressive. They're not like hermit crabs. You can grab them by the tail and do your thing.
Yeah, you just do your thing.
Yeah.
So they got that. They're going to have a special trophy, which every track should have a special trophy now.
Yes, I agree with that so much.
And it's been about a year since I've realized that the Borg Warner trophy they give to the Indy 500 winner, I did not realize that Borg Warner was a company. I thought it was two different people, that it was named after two different, like, old school IndyCar guys.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I was actually at the IMS museum last summer, and they had you could see the trophy, and they had this big display about Borg Warner, like it's like a fabrication company or something. And I was like, it's not a person?
Yeah.
What's that all about?
Do they get to keep the Indianapolis 500 trophy, or they have to give it back after the year?
I don't even think they get to keep it like the Stanley Cup for a week or whatever. I think they get smaller ones.
Oh, okay.
For their personal deal. But I think the big one stays at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
That might make sense.
Which is cool.
I know yesterday we were talking about trophies and how Liverpool just won their trophy, and they get to keep them. That's all part of the thing. Like Chelsea just won a championship before this show. They just beat Real Betis, and they have won all of the UEFA championships, the Europe championships that you could win, and they're going to add that trophy to their case. That's in the footballing world, soccer. It's just like in American football, you keep the Lombardi trophy. It's that you put it in your trophy case.
Which I think is cool. I mean, and the thing about me is I've always wanted or been advocating for every track to do their own trophy, because I was lucky to be at Bobby Rahal's house outside of Chicago, and he had a trophy case. He has like a barndominium. Okay. But he has like his Indy cars downstairs, and he has this huge trophy case. And I spent like an hour and a half just looking at all the trophies, because like he won like the Molson 500, and it's like this Kodiak bear, and then there's plates and crystal trophies, and he had his mini Borg Warner there, and there's just all these things. Whereas if he would have been an NHRA guy, I mean, Force's shop in the California just looks like a Wally making factory.
Yeah, I've seen.
There's just so many of them.
Right.
You can't even, and you have to get down on your hand and read the plaque, because you can't really tell the difference from a Topeka race to the U.S. Nationals to Seattle. So.
Well, Gainesville did the Golden Gator one, right? A couple of years ago.
Gainesville did the Golden Gator. Sonoma, a few years ago, started doing the Chalice.
Right.
Arizona, actually, this year had like a laser cut kind of Western thing that was which they didn't do a very good job of. I just happened to see one.
Where did they do the
ice cream scoop?
Yeah, where did they do the cornhole boards? Is that Brainerd?
That is Reading.
Reading.
Okay. Kyle Koretsky started doing the cornhole. Brainerd last year started doing like the Paul Bunyan hat.
Yep. That's cool.
Now Epping's got the lobster thing going. Motorplex does the cowboy hats. And I think Bandimere, their last year, they started doing the Johnny, which is after John Bandimere. They did their own special trophy for that. I think that's about it. Bristol Super Grip does their own kind of cool, super tall, ridiculous trophy.
Right.
That they started last year. So I would say about half the tracks now have trophies. But the Baby Gator probably to me is one of my favorites.
Yeah, that's a cool one.
That was a cool one.
So that'll be cool. Yeah, so they get, but there's a in Epping this year. There's a throne up there made out of
Yeah,
like
there's going to be like a throne made out of lobster, like out of a lobster cage. That's going to be branded, and I think somebody gets to keep that. I don't know if it's the funny car winner or the top fuel winner. Someone's going to get to keep that throne, I think.
Whoever's got the most room in their hauler, probably.
Yeah, exactly. And Chicago did a deal this year for the second. They did like a little capper, like the old school light that used to be on top of like gas station, old school to gas station deals.
Right.
You know what?
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, like, one thing NHRA does really good, or, they're hit or miss on some stuff, but what they do is the event pins that they sell at Nitro Mall. This past one in Chicago was like a replica of Wrigley Field's, their board, the sign says welcome to Wrigley Field.
Yeah, really like the...
Yeah, and it looked so good. And like usually, like, hey, the guys at the top pin, hey, I got a pin for you, and I got a collection running around here someplace. But I was like, why did I get
I've got a whole cookie jar full. They used to give event pins to all the media people for many, many years.
Yeah. I was like,
and
but
now
that was...
I'm glad to see they're coming back because I need to start getting my collection back. But I got a huge cookie jar full of them. That's
cool. Yeah. But this one from Chicago, very cool. And if you're into collectibles, like people at Disney, they're like, oh, we got to get pins.
Yeah.
They do come out with some really cool ones. But again, also, if you go to a race, and I know we say this all the time, if you have not renewed your tickets for your next race, you definitely need to renew your tickets for the 75th anniversary, because the rings they have are absolutely... I don't know if I have one.
I think I have one.
I don't know. Maybe one gets stuck in my bag.
Yeah, right here. Look at this. Right here.
Yeah, look at that. That's a cool ring.
These things, and this is exactly, I think, what the championship rings are going to look like.
Yeah.
And it just about fits them. I'm going to have to get it stretched out so I can wear it. It just doesn't quite fit on my finger.
Yeah.
But I'm going to start wearing this thing like I'm a champ.
Like they used to have the helmets and stuff that they would give out for renewals. Yeah. Those were cool. Those are very cool. This one
comes in a cool box. I mean, it's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing. And they did a really good job with that one this year.
So
that's
so we got Epping this weekend. That's what to keep your eye on.
Yeah.
Crazy trophies. The weather.
The weather, definitely.
Self-serving shout out to get people signed up for Drag Race Bracket Bonanza, our free fantasy game. Sign up anytime, dragracebracketbonanza.com. We do kick-ass prizes, autographed plaques, hats, all kinds of stuff. Play for free, win cool prizes.
Very cool. Yeah, there's I know WFO has their own league.
Get in the WFO Racing League. It's one of our biggest leagues, and there's all kinds of cool prizes, and it's just a fun way to stay engaged. I get to talk to Hannah on Sunday mornings about playing HRA and Drag Race Bracket Bonanza, so that's kind of an awesome deal. So what are you most looking forward to as DJ guy going into this weekend?
This place is pretty good because it's all rock. I mean, we're not messing around with anything else. It's all rock. For being a smaller crowd, they're definitely into it. It's way more intimate, so they feel they can yell at me even more, which is cool. And I asked for it, so that's fun. But yeah, I mean, it should be a good time. I mean, again, I don't want it to rain. It rained last year, and that was not fun. But I'd rather sit there, get my 2 rounds in, and move along.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Get in there, and it is a cool venue because you kind of go in, and it's throwback. The fans there are awesome. And it's a unique deal because it's the ownership group for the track is like the Green Bay Packers.
Oh, the people own it?
It's like 20 people own the track.
That's cool.
So
I like that.
It's a whole committee by ownership. So
yeah.
And we go back to back. This is like, I'm trying to think. So we did Phoenix and Winter Nationals back to back. That was our only back to back so far. So now we go back to back, Epping to Bristol, and we'll have plenty of stuff to talk about next Wednesday. Epping wrap up. Look forward to Bristol, King of the Moonshine, all that good stuff.
Yep. Well, before we get off this the show here, which we're trying to do what we got to do, but tell us about Buddy Hall getting a Telly Award. What's the Telly Award, first off?
So the Telly Awards are given to TV shows that are basically not over-the-air TV shows, but just more digital TV, online TV. Everyone does them. NFL teams do them. NHRA won like 7 tellies.
Yeah.
The Talking Funny Cars with Buddy Hall, the show I produce with Buddy, won a People's Telly, which I appreciate all the fans voting. Won a gold People's Telly. So we're super fired up about it. We're gonna start filming season 2 in Sonoma. But it's just a fun show. Buddy is a great personality it was his rookie year last year, and he just wanted to, talk to funny car guys. So Caps was on last year, Cruz Pedregon, Beckman, Austin Prock, Paul Lee, Dan Wilkerson. We had Billy Meyer on as a legend. So it was just a fun show. Hagen and J.R. Todd were on to just talk about how cool it is to be funny car guys. So,
yeah, I watched a bunch of them. It looked good. I mean, the first couple races shows I'm like going, I don't know what this is all about. But then they got good. Like the production value.
It was a learning process because every PR guy is a frustrated TV producer.
Right.
So we were around it enough. So it was very funny. We filmed the pilot with Cruz at Bristol last year up on the hill. And there was a little bit of background noise because we got started kind of late, and we thought we were going to be filming between cars, but it had a cool backdrop of the track and the mountains and stuff. And they're like, okay, we need to get into a better environment. So at Richmond, we rented a room at a hotel and we filmed 3 episodes in one day. Caps, Blake Alexander, Dave Richards. Bought a backdrop, really cool, red, kind of wavy, psychedelic backdrop with the Talking Funny Car logo in the middle, standard stuff. Filmed all 3 episodes, edited the Caps one, sent it off to the folks at Fox that kind of green light it, and they're just like, dude, that red backdrop is so violent. It's just assaulting on your eyes.
Right.
And I was like, well, damn it. And they're like, okay, the Caps show was good enough. The content was good enough that you could fight through the backdrop. But sadly, the Dave Richards and Blake Alexander shows didn't make the cut. So then at Sonoma, we filmed more in a much more like, that's the Austin Prock one, Paul Lee, Dan Wilkerson. And it looks like in this room, chairs, and it has a much more cool vibe. And then we found a restaurant in Reading to film Matt Hagen. And, so we're going to film all the shows this year in Sonoma and in Reading to have that cool vibe. But it was very much a learning process with both the camera placement, and you got camera batteries go down, or there's audio, or people are walking in. But the cool thing was I produced it with Warren Evans, who does Drag Race TV. He's like the guy that helps live stream a lot of the Lucas Oil races and things like that. You probably seen him at PRI and SEMA. Yeah. He's like the guy I worked in the NHRA stage running the sound for that. But it was great working with him because he brought some of the technical aspects that I didn't really know. But it was cool when racers walked in to do the show, and it has, 3 cameras set up, lighting, they were like, oh, this is really not a half-assed deal.
Right. And
they all had a good time doing it. That was probably the coolest thing, was hearing from guys like Caps. And then the shows went on repeat. So Buddy was getting texts all the time. Hey, I'm watching your show right now. TJ Zizzo stopped me at the U.S. Nationals and was like, hey, man, I've been watching this show on the Fast Channel, this Talking Funny Cars with Buddy Holtman. He goes, that's really kind of a cool show. And I was like, yeah, I'm familiar with it. He goes, oh, you are? And I was like, yeah, I helped make it. And he was like, really? And I was like, yeah. So that's been kind of a cool deal. So yeah, we're super excited about that. And, just thankful that there's just kind of an outlet to kind of get those creative juices out there.
Well, what's the Telly award look like? I mean, is it a
it's
trophy?
It's like a 4.5-pound gold statue. I've seen pictures of it. They're going to deliver the trophies like in a month. So it's like a winged kind of, it almost looks like like a giant hood ornament of like whoever the FTD guy.
Oh yeah, gotcha.
That guy kind of, but it's much smoother and sleeker looking.
Right.
So it's cool, but it's it's like 18 inches tall and weighs like 4.5 pounds. So it's a sizable trophy. So I'm looking forward to I'll probably put it right over here by my Wally. I got a Wally. Justin actually gave me a Wally.
Nice.
So I'll probably put it over there after I keep it on my mantle in my living room for all my, just pull it out for, holiday parties and things like that. Nice centerpiece.
Listen, at my office, which I never go to, I've got all these dumb awards that I've won, and I'm like, okay. But the coolest thing I ever got was, and I probably shouldn't even bring this up, but when Coca-Cola left in HRA, and the Mellow Yellow guys, they took me out to dinner and they gave me like a glass Coca-Cola bottle and on a little stand that said, "Thanks for everything you've done for us over the past 40
well
years."
deserved.
I was like, and I looked at our boss. I go, "That's what we should be giving away as for a thank you." I go, "I don't need another raise if I get glass bottle, some appreciation like that." Yeah. It was very cool.
Yeah. So sometime we'll go through all this wild stuff behind me. So yeah, Mercury Man, Scott. Yes. So it looks like that. So, like 100 round win deal. Courtney gave me one of the 100 race win medallions because I'm a big medal guy. I like the medals more than I like the trophies.
Sure.
Give me a medal over a trophy any day.
I have, well, we probably don't need to go into all of what my problems are. But yeah, that's awesome, man. I've got stupid stuff around here too, but no one cares because that's who I am. Well, let's stop. Let's thank some sponsors because we're on WFO Radio. How about this?
Let's do that.
I hope you guys have had some fun, but let's thank the people that help WFO do what they do.
Redline Oil, formulated to win, proven by me.
Redline Oil, formulated to win.
Formulated to win.
Formulated to win, proven by me.
Formulated to win, proven by me.
Proven by me.
Proven by me.
Redline Oil, formulated to win, proven by me.
That's a good one. How about this one?
The number one source of friction in your engine is not what you think. Piston rings rubbing against the cylinder walls generate more friction than any other part of the engine. More friction and temperature means more wear and less horsepower. Fortunately, the team at Total Seal knows how to reduce friction and wear through innovative piston ring design. If it takes a piston, Total Seal can build a better ring.
Looking to replace your OEM diesel particulate filter or diesel oxidation catalyst? Look no further than DPF X-Fit, a complete line of aftermarket diesel particulate filters and diesel oxidation catalysts designed as an exact fit OEM replacement with all makes coverage for light, medium, and heavy-duty trucks. With thousands of units in stock, we ship the same or next day, and be sure to check out our comprehensive reverse OEM lookup tool. Always new, never remanufactured. For more information, be sure to visit dpfxfit.com. That's dpfxfit.com.
That one finishes way sooner than the timestamp on it.
All right. We'll get better about putting the commercials in the middle of the show, Joe. Just so you know.
Yeah, Joe. This is the best part about this show. Is it's our first one.
First one.
Yeah, we could have had the President of the United States on here, and this would be Joe Costello. Well, I would have done it.
I'm here for it. So if you want to have anything on the show, email me, Elon at elanwerner.com. I take shout outs. I answer tech questions. You don't have to write anything on the back of a Pro Stock card. Send me any questions.
Are you the complaint department?
I am the complaint department. Send me your complaints about the show. So Elon at elanwerner.com, or just follow me on social. Oh, Jim Essex, right out of the gate, volume leveling software.
By the way,
I'm impervious to volume leveling software.
Joe goes,
we'll work on that.
Yeah, Joe goes, hey, do you have that? I go, nope. And but that's Joe Costello video right there. He has it.
That'll keep people from nodding off during the show is when we're blowing out your speakers. So we'll work on that, Jim.
It's in my ears too.
Yes. So Jason, I think this was a lot of fun. We're going to enjoy doing this. We'll be back next Wednesday, 5:30 Central, 6:30 Eastern.
Yes, and again, we'll see everybody at Epping. Make sure you come see us. We'll all be out there having a good time, and that's what we do. It was going to be fun. And if you want to buy us a beer or a lobster roll, whatever you want.
Whatever. We're here for it.
You'll bring it. That's it. Thank you, Elon.
Thanks so much.
We'll see you tomorrow in beautiful New Hampshire.